Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. My name is Regan57. I got an email over my vacation that was fascinating to me, and it illustrates a real problem that I had and I've seen other players have in regards to the mental game of Fortnite, the mental game of training, and how we can ultimately realize our potential that that we don't even realize that we have. So I'll just read the email. It says, "This is kind of embarrassing for me, but I played a session of scrims this morning and I never made it to late game. I feel like I go through the same deal every time there's a tournament. I die off spawn over and over and get mad, making me play worse. I feel like my aim is really good, but my decision making and mechanics are really lacking compared to these players. I feel like I'm missing something bigger, and once I understand it, I'll play better. I've watched all of your videos, I warm up in creative beforehand, but I feel like I'm at a plateau. Sorry for throwing this on you, but I don't know anyone else who can help me. Signed, HevyEdge. You can roast me on YouTube for content." So thank you, Heavy, for the email. Yeah, this is the deal, man. We as competitive players get in the mindset of comparing ourselves to others. It is something I made a video on a few days ago while I was on my vacation. But I will be going into more detail now that I'm home and I'm able to do some recordings at my computer. The clips that I'm running right now in the background are clips from Labor Day, which is September 2nd of this year. This is about 1.5 weeks after I started writing down writing down the reasons why I was getting eliminated in Fortnite. So if you'll notice to the left of my keyboard, there's a notepad with a pen. I'm a player who has always been relatively good at video games, been able to learn quickly, but I was experiencing a similar issue where I was plateauing, and I felt like I had the mechanics to play the game, but I was unable to elevate myself above other players and notice anything really meaningful in my gameplay. I was dying off spawn over and over again. At this point, I had adjusted my sleep, I had adjusted my diet, I had adjusted my training routine itself, but what I had not done is analyze my ability to improve from a mental standpoint. So naturally, what I did was think about things I could do to alter that mental state. The first thing was putting myself in a position to learn something at every possible moment. So the way that I did that was by getting a notepad, getting a pen, and writing down every single time I was eliminated in the moment what the cause of my elimination was. I still do this today. It's about 7 weeks later. I'm actually closer to just over 2 months now. And the improvements are immeasurable. It's like night and day. And I was able to tap into this state of mind known as the flow state, or whatever you want to call it, concentration, just a meditative state, one where you're being predictive and reactive rather than being self-conscious, one where you are not necessarily thinking about what you are doing in the moment, but you are just absorbing all of the information in your environment and making the best decision that you possibly can. And this is something that I think players experience all the time, where they get into this mode where we're just going through the motions and we don't necessarily have the ability to utilize the skills and techniques that we have been practicing and attempting to drill, because we're stuck in our old ways and we're stuck in a comparative mindset. So what I mean by comparative mindset is whenever we load into a game, our instinct is to immediately start judging. We want to go immediately into a judging mode. Where do I stack up against these players? Where do these players stack up against me? Am I better? Am I worse? Am I smarter? Am I dumber? Am I more mechanically skilled? Or am I a bot compared to these guys? This is totally normal because it has been ingrained in us to behave this way. What I aim to do with my training plan and with My note-taking plan is to eliminate any sort of comparison and nip it right in the bud. And to do that and the way that we do that is right as we get knocked out in the game, right when the tilt starts to kick in. And when I say tilt, I don't mean get angry or get frustrated. I mean when an emotion takes over our ability to think rationally. All right? So it could be any emotion. It could be confidence. It could be sadness. It could be fear. It could be anger. It could be any of these emotions. Right when we experience this level of tilt, we remove ourselves from the situation. I grab my pen and paper and I write down exactly what the objective cause of my death was. And with as much context as I feel necessary to be able to remember the event as it was the following day when I'm warming up in creative. Sometimes that means I need to write a full sentence or 2 sentences. Sometimes it means I only need to write 3 words. Just enough to where I can build context around the situation, remove myself from that emotional state, because really we have to make that conscious effort to remove ourselves from that state of mind and stay objective. So the following day, what I will do is I'll take this list of causes of death and I'll sort of peel over it and determine if there are any patterns in my play. And what this does is it allows me and others to improve at an exceptionally fast rate compared to the average. When we go into a match and we die right off the bat, and we don't write down or document what we have done, whether it be through writing it down, through recording clips and watching it later, if we don't do this, there's a high chance that we're going to forget what has transpired, and we're not going to learn anything. We can blame the game, we can even blame ourselves, but if we don't have anything to go back and look at and change, there's very few people who are able to detach emotionally and immediately turn the experience into a learning experience. And that's essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to remain emotionally detached while playing this game so that we can play reactively and predictively at all times. And that is what I mean when I say the flow state. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a training plan that I follow in terms of very strict sleep cycle, very strict dietary restrictions, very strict creative training plan. But the real kicker is what we do as we are eliminated and right when we start playing the next day to think about how we can improve based on our patterns. So Heavy, if you're watching this, I know you are. Make sure you're doing this. Make sure you're writing down or at least jotting down or recording your deaths with shadow play and taking some time to think about whether or not you are emotionally invested in the game and what you can do to remove yourself from that habitual state of mind. Again, my name is Regan57. I'm very happy to be back at home, and I look forward to producing more content like this in the near future. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.